Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Elena and let's overthink this. So at the beginning of this coronavirus, I had this idea that I was going to write a video on a topic called coronavirus the underdog. So basically I noticed something. The human race has always been basically the underdogs. It's how we've gotten to where we are. And underdog stories basically means that the underdog always wins. In an underdog story, there are two main characters, but there are three characters overall: the underdog, the rival, and the losers, unfortunately. So the losers help the underdog slowly climb up so that they can reach the level where they can face the rival. And in life, humans have always been the underdogs. We've worked our way up to getting to the part where we can reach to the levels that we have. So we've stopped being prey. We became good enough so that we could make ourselves survive. And so we write stories where we emulate the story of the underdog, and that's always been our role. That's why we love these stories. And when the coronavirus started, I was just like, okay, we got this. The human race is going to crush this. This is what we've always done. We're used to this. And I wrote it down, but I started to notice that actually we were not taking on the role of the underdog anymore, because see, in an underdog story, the underdog needs a rival to continue to keep being the underdog. If the underdog continues to be undefeated, then they automatically go into the role of the rival, because then they're not the underdog anymore because they keep winning. You need somebody to always be above you so that you can aim to be better than them. If you don't have anybody to surpass, you can't be the underdog. So, and we haven't had anybody to overcome, because the human race has been number one for centuries. Even 100 years ago, when we beat that H1N1 flu, I refuse to call it the Spanish flu, because that's just a terrible name. If you look up the history of the flu, it's so terrible that they called it that name. When we beat the H1N1 flu 100 years ago, that was basically the last time we had, and everybody's gotten so comfortable. So we haven't had a rival in a while, so we can't say that we're the underdog. We've gotten comfortable. So when you look at the coronavirus, it's taken on the role of the underdog. Now, I wrote this whole thing. If you're interested in reading it, I placed it on my website. It's a whole list that explains why the coronavirus is the underdog and why we have taken on the role of the rival. But let me just quickly read why. Okay, so let's see. The coronavirus as the underdog. So to be an underdog, let's see. So to be an underdog, it has to have little advantage. It's usually the loser, or it's never won. And despite that, it has an unwillingness to give up. It gets ridicule, it's mocked, or there's prejudice. It's determined. It has immense fighting spirit, and it's born from many losses. And the rival has lots of money, lots of science, lots of tools. The rival is confident and therefore feels superior. Why shouldn't they? They have never lost, or it's been a long time since they've lost, and they've forgotten how it feels. They underestimate the underdog, which makes logical sense. Who would believe that the rival would ever lose? So let's look at underdogs in history. Black people from slavery, the Jewish people, the Egyptian people back in the day. These are underdogs. And then when they eventually, women from being able to get freedom, gay people being able to get married, these are underdogs who eventually got up to get their freedoms and their rights. Aboriginals, these are underdogs. So you see, they had their moment where they fought for their freedom. So now, how does the coronavirus fit into that? How do we fit into that? Do you see the human race right now having little advantage and losing? We haven't lost in a long time. We haven't been ridiculed. There's a virus. We know how to defeat the virus. We have the money. We have the science. We feel so confident. There are like all these labs around the world, like working towards getting vaccines and everything. So anyway, so as I wrote it down, so the coronavirus as the underdog, basic cleaners will kill it. The basic cleaners are available anywhere, even at the dollar store. Simple cleaning methods will clean it. Simple hygiene will clean it. Just washing your hands for 20 seconds will clean it. Let's see. They can't multiply, like if it's on the surface outside, it literally cannot do anything. It literally has to penetrate your cells to be able to multiply. Like, how much of a loser is that? That's like a loser. It's basically a loser. It can't survive outside. It needs specific methods to survive. They basically can't do anything unless they enter your body through a specific method. Humanity as the rival. We have decades of science in epidemiology. We feel super confident. We have labs. We have tools. People are throwing millions and billions of dollars out. Like, after this, the leaders are underestimating it. The public refuses to follow the simple guidelines. There's silly rumors and 5G networks and all this ridiculousness. We have taken on the role of the rival because we're underestimating it. So I wrote this. Where is it? So I wrote this in the beginning, and I felt this was very simple. Everybody would know this, and I started to have doubts. Like, why would I need to write this? Everybody already know this. I'm just wasting my time writing this, and I would look silly. So I decided maybe it wasn't a good idea to write it, so I decided not to. So I wrote all of this in the beginning of the virus. I was going to make a video about it, and you know, I'm not really confident. Like, even listening to this, I'm very nervous. My voice is trembling because I know nobody's gonna like listen to this, but I'm still so nervous talking about it. So I chose to give in to the fear, and I decided not to put the video out. But then later on, even if it seems so obvious that people would know all of this, people were not. People were doing all these random crazy things. I'm just like, okay, so maybe people needed to hear this after all. So I decided, okay, let's make the video after all. So I sat down to make the video. I wrote a script. But then I noticed that the tone of the script had changed because I had been self-isolating for about 2 months. Sorry for all the noise. I rent a room and I have to use the tools that are in the room. It's a very squeaky desk. I think they found it on the curb. It's a nice wooden desk, but it's so squeaky, so I apologize. I can't do anything about it. It's free, so I use what I have. So sorry about that. Anyway, so I started to make the video, but I noticed that my tone had changed. I'd been listening to all the news because you can't help it. You're at home, it's current events, and it's so unprecedented. This is something we never thought we'd see in our lifetime. So I'm making a video and I'm noticing that my tone is so different. Like, when I first made the video, it was this message of hope and I was like, maybe the 3 people who would eventually find my video who'd feel inspired, and they would be like, yes, okay, we're seeing that the coronavirus is the underdog and we're the rivals. Maybe we need to do something to change it up so that actually we can put ourselves back into the role of the underdog so that we don't lose. But then I felt like when I was making the video the second time, it's like I didn't believe that people could put themselves back into the role of the underdog, because everybody knows the underdog always wins, but we're the rivals, and it's like people are not thinking. It's like they can't They can't see. They're blind. Their eyes are closed and they cannot see what's happening. And while I was making this video, I was just like, okay, this is not the message that I want to put out. And so again, I scrapped the video. But I'm an overthinker. This is the whole point of my channel. I overthink everything, and I didn't like this new me. I understood where this negative thought process was coming from. We're in a very dark timeline. And I know where the sadness was coming from and the despair was coming from. But I didn't like it, and I didn't like that my inner voice was so smothered with sorrow. So I decided to think on where my hope had gone. And so I was thinking about this message of hope, how I could find it back. And I was just thinking about hope, and so I found myself thinking about Pandora's box. And I'm sure everybody knows the story of Pandora's box, how she was given this box deliberately, according to the story. They wanted to see if she would open the box, and basically it was a box filled with monsters, and inside the box was all the evil in the world, all the evil except plus hope. And they told her she wasn't allowed to open up the box. But obviously she's a human. That's what we do. I mean, that's how we were created. That's how we've evolved. That's why we've reached the levels that we've reached, because we're curious. Can you imagine where we would be if we were not curious? Like, give us a break. Without our curiosity, we would not be anywhere. We would be still wondering what the big circle in the sky was. We need to be curious, so give us a break. Anyway, so she opened up the box, and there are two versions of the story. One says that all the monsters escaped except for Hope. The other one says that all the monsters escaped, including Hope. Now, I believe that all the monsters escaped, including Hope. Here's why. Hope exists in this world. Hope exists. Here's also what I believe. I also believe that Hope is also one of the monsters. First off, why would Hope be in a box with monsters? Not only that, I believe that Hope was the biggest monster of them all. And I also believe that, listen, I've been thinking about this for months. This is not like a random thought I just had like yesterday. I've been thinking about this for a while because I was very disappointed in my thought process. What I wrote when I was making this video, I was very disappointed in the, if you read the, I wrote the notes. If you go to the website, I left the notes exactly how I was going to make the video with the disappointment and the sorrow. I just left it like that so that you could see just how negative I was. So this was bothering me. This is not my voice. This is not my tone. This is not me. So I left it. So I've been thinking about hope for a while. Like I said, I'm an overthinker. I overthink everything. So I've been thinking hope is the biggest monster of them all, and I really, really, truly believe that these monsters were not escaping the box, they were escaping hope. Think about hope. When I think about hope, I think of how powerful it is. It has the ability, because I've been thinking about hope for a while, and just the thought of it has helped me elevate my emotions. Just not even the actual thing, just thinking about it has elevated my emotions to the point that here I am making a video. We went on lockdown in March. I've been trying to start this channel since March. I think we shut down, like Canada shut down March 11th. I believe that was the day in my bullet journal. I'll put a picture of my bullet journal here for you so you can see. I think that was the day that they called a pandemic. And then Canada shut down. Canada was like, everybody go away. I've been trying to restart my channel just to like talk about stuff in March. Today is May 11th. That means, wow, okay, so exactly 3 months. I've been trying to do this for exactly 3 months. I've been thinking about hope for about 2 weeks-ish, approximately 3 weeks, 2 weeks. And I've just the thought of it has helped me actually physically get up to make a video, to actually set up my video. I believe that hope is the most powerful monster of them all. So, what is the whole point of this? Even while I'm sad, even while I was so sad, I was thinking about hope, and it was able to help elevate me. I remember I spent one night up the whole night just thinking about it. Just when I have these moments of thought, I just let my brain go. I just let it go wherever it wants to go. I just let it go, because I find that when I try to stop, then it doesn't really help. It's better to just let my mind just go where it wants to go. And what ended up happening was that I wasn't able to sleep. So what ended up happening was, the thought process was that I was wondering, why was I so upset? Well, I was obviously upset about what was going on in the world. Why was I upset about what was going on? Obviously, all the things people were doing, but I have no control over all the people's actions. I can't control them. And I already know this. I cannot control other people. The only person I have control over is myself. And even then, I don't have control, because you can't always control your emotions. A lot of times it is subconscious, and that has to do with subconscious foundational things that you are not even aware of. And I'm aware of that. But still, it was affecting me. So I started thinking, what was the problem? I realized that I was a little bit disappointed in the way people were reacting, but I get it that they were scared. These people are scared. They are reacting in anger because they are scared. It is a survival instinct. And what they need is to realize that, and what they need is hope. They need that hope. They need the message of hope. Because, like the virus, hope is contagious. This is not, obviously, not like a religious thing, or because it sounds like I'm saying, oh, Jesus, or it's nothing like that. I just really, truly believe that our brain chemistry is affected by positives and negatives. And I was watching this interview with Robert De Niro on the Stephen Colbert show, and you could genuinely see how depressed he was. And he was saying that he was watching the news constantly, and the negativity of the world around him was just wearing him down. And I was watching this man that I watched in movies since I was a child, and just seeing the humanness of his depression. And he was clearly depressed. Seeing the humanness of that depression was, I don't know, it was just very real for me. And I realized that people genuinely need that message of hope. We need to step away from the negativity of it. We need to realize first, before I know it's going to be hard. I know it's hard to do. We need to step away from the fact that these people are angry. I know the ones on the street protesting and screaming and yelling, and they want this open and the that open, and they have the guns and the racism. They're scared. We need to be bigger and understand that. I know people are not gonna like hearing that. We have to be the ones who need to be bigger. They're scared. they're scared. And I get it. We're scared too. It's just they react differently than we are. Their reaction is anger. That's how they react. Some of us react by trying to do something. They react. Okay, so remember in the box, Pandora's box. Many monsters escaped. There was hatred and fear and doubt, but hope escaped too. So in fear, we're reacting with hope. They're accepting doubt and anger and hatred. That's how they're reacting. But remember, while all these other negative emotions are contagious, hope is contagious as well. And not only that, but it also breeds other positive emotions like love and community. So while we're working on trying to fix this pandemic, while we're trying to get life back to normal, we need to do two things. First things first is to remember that we need to go back to the spirit of being the underdog. We cannot act like the rivals. That's what is happening. This anger, this superiority. We need to go back to being the underdogs. And not only that, but we need to also go back to spreading the message of hope. Because all this anger, it really affects the brain. We're going to be feeling this for years. After this is done, after we find treatments and cures and vaccines, people are going to be feeling this for years. We need to start doing stuff to help ourselves now. We can't be saying when it's done, then we're going to start healing. No, we got to set the foundations now. So the goal is to think about the way you think about the virus now. Don't treat it like a done deal. Treat it like the serious disease that it is right now. And not only that, treat your community with respect and with hope. I guess that's what I wanted to say. Yeah, it was a little longer than I was expecting, but like I said, I overthink everything, so sometimes I ramble on just to try and get the thoughts out. But if you like this kind of video, please take some time to hit the like button and to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.